All right, this is Eric with Scout Plumbing. Today we're going to be doing some cutting copper and soldering. So we'll start off with cutting some copper. We're going to start off at the 1 inch mark instead of this mark, since this has a little bit of play. We're going to do a 4 inch cut, so we'll do it from 1 inch to 5 inches. This little blade is your copper cutter. So you kind of slowly get it on there to your point. Make sure it's nice and good. Slowly start tightening it. You're gonna guide it around one way and then bring it back around so you get a good groove started. That way, if you just started spinning on one way, it wouldn't walk down the pipe. Once you get that good groove going, you can just go around constantly in one direction while slowly tightening it. So you have these little rough spots in here after cuts. This is a ream side, but you need to get a reamer. This is a reamer. What it does is deburr all those little sharp points to reduce turbulence in your pipe, so you're less likely to have leaks further down the road. What you do is kind of just go around. You'll see little burrs come off, but it just smooths out the inside. Do that so it's real smooth. All right, so now we're going to prep this copper for soldering. We're going to sand it down, both the outside of the pipe and the inside of the fitting. It's already been reamed. For the outside of the pipe, we're going to use an abrasive sand cloth. They make sandpaper. They make these wire brushes for inside of fittings. They're all very great tools to help sand the pipe. Basically, you'll just sand the outside of it. See, it gets real nice and shiny. You don't want to get any dirt or anything on there off, so your solder can bond real well. So it's nice and shiny, very clean. Inside of the pipe's still dirty, inside of the fitting. So we use this wire brush. See how nice and clean it is in there. All right, so here's our flex. This will help clean the pipe and also allow the solder to flow smooth within the joint and get a good bond, get a good seal. So you apply it to the outside of the pipe that's going inside of the fitting, and put it on the inside of that fitting. You'll join them together. Make sure your copper goes all the way in. All right, so now we're gonna do the soldering itself. We're using MAP gas and just a nice benzomatic torch. Here's our solder. It's 97.3 lead-free solder. Any potable water system is gonna need lead-free solder. So you wanna start off with your pipe, putting the heat on your pipe and transferring it to your fitting. The solder itself, it will attract to the heat. So you want to put the heat on the side of where you're wanting the solder to go to, be drawn towards. So we'll start off heating the pipe. We have a towel underneath here strictly to catch any solder drops that drop off. So once you start getting it hot, solder will take straight in there. You don't want to leave the heat on there. If you get it too hot, the solder won't take and it'll actually run away from the heat. And you'll never get solder to go in there and seal up. Just make sure you have solder the whole way around. We'll use this towel to wipe off any excess flux. Then we'll look around our solder joint to make sure there's no gaps in the solder. Looks like everything's sealed up really well. If you look in here on the inside, you can see the solders came all the way through. And that's a proper solder joint.